Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera semua. Welcome to PSA 3013 Public Sector Accounting. In this video, we will be discussing about accrual accounting. Now, let's begin. Okay, so there are altogether 5 learning outcomes to be achieved in this chapter. But in this video, we will be focusing only on the first 4 learning outcomes, which is number 1, to describe the concept of accrual accounting in the public sector, to compare and contrast cash basis accounting with accrual basis accounting. Number 3, to describe the needs to move towards accrual accounting, especially in the Malaysian public sector context, and to discuss the implementation strategies for accrual accounting in the Malaysian public sector.
Government accounting practices are generally classified into 4 different categories, moving from the least to the most sophisticated side of the spectrum. So we have cash accounting, modified cash accounting, modified accrual accounting, and accrual accounting. Under cash accounting, the term itself is self-explanatory. So this means that cash payments and receipts are recorded as they occur. Under modified cash accounting, cash receipts and disbursement committed in the budget year are recorded and reported until a specified period after year end. So they basically have some time. They have a window before they can record and report the cash receipt and disbursement. Under modified accrual accounting is used, but certain classes of assets such as the non-current asset or liabilities are not recognized. And finally, under accrual accounting, which is the most familiar accounting practice, transactions and economic events are recorded and reported when they occur, regardless of when cash transactions occur. Traditionally, cash basis accounting has been used across the public sector organizations. It was considered as being more appropriate for the public sector, in which emphasis was given on compliance with rules and regulations. This basis of accounting reflects the fundamental principle that no public money should be spent in ways and amounts that were not specified in the annual governmental budgets. So cash accounting basically records the cash receipts, cash payments, and cash balances at the time cash is exchanged. Therefore, cash accounting financial statements only show sources of cash receipts, the allocation of cash expenditure, and provide a comparison of actual against budgeted expenditure. So the primary financial statement prepared under cash basis of accounting is the statement of cash receipts and payments. The accrual accounting, on the other hand, is explained as recognition of revenue and expenses in the accounting period in which they are earned or incurred, respectively, rather than when the cash is paid or received. In this example, accrual accounting makes the distinction between the receipt of cash and the right to receive, and the payment of cash and the legal obligation to pay cash, where it does not require the movement of cash for accounting recognition. The financial statements prepared under the accrual basis of accounting underlies will include the statement of financial position, macam biasalah, statement of financial performance, cash flow statement, and the statement of changes in net assets and net assets or equity. So we can basically say that the key difference between these two bases of accounting can be observed as related to the timing of the recording of the transactions. The essence of accrual accounting is the shifting of timing of recording transactions and the recognition of expenses and revenue, in which, for example, expenses are, as mentioned earlier, recognized and recorded in the period they are incurred rather than the period in which they are paid. However, as you can see here, there are also compromises methods used by most government for reporting government spending activities yang ada di tengah-tengah. That is modified cash accounting system and modified accrual accounting system. So these accounting systems are intended to provide more information to users while at the same time trying to avoid the complexities of accrual accounting system. The modified cash basis is a hybrid method. It combines the features of both cash basis and accrual basis. The recognition of revenues in modified cash basis is at the point when the cash is received, while the expenditure is recognized when it is incurred. Any unpaid accounts and receivables are taken into account for a month after the year end. Jadi ada masa lagi tu, 1 bulan selepas end of financial year. Modification to the cash basis accounting includes such item as the capitalization of assets. If these modifications are made, the resulting balance sheet would include long-term asset and accumulated depreciation. Samalah income statement would also report on depreciation.
This particular page illustrates the differences between cash and accrual accounting. As you can see here, these two types of financial reporting bases are compared in terms of their nature, method, revenue recognition, and expenses recognition. So, cash accounting definitely is a much simpler method as compared to accrual accounting, because there are so many rules and regulations that we need to follow when implementing accrual accounting. If you can recall, there are altogether 30 plus MPSAs that public sector has to follow once they have transitioned to accrual accounting. In terms of method, accrual accounting is the method that is being recognized under the Companies Act 2016, while cash accounting is not allowed to be practiced because it does not comply or it violates the matching principle recommended by GAAP or the international standards. Okay, so when talking about revenue recognition and expenses recognition, I believe that we have discussed this in detail before. So you can see the differences between the two items yourself here. Apart from that, there are also differences in terms of the presentation of income statement, the applicability of matching concept, as well as the degree of accuracy between both accounting methods. So in cash accounting, the cash flow demonstrates the financial performance of the organization. The lower the cash inflow, the lower the financial performance of an organization. However, for accrual accounting, it reflects more of the economic effect of such, for example, an appreciation of assets. So it will basically show a comparatively higher income as compared to the cash accounting. So as mentioned before, in terms of the matching principle, the cash accounting definitely violate the matching principle. Okay, whereas accrual accounting fulfills this particular criterion. That is why it is regarded as a better option or more effective tool for recording receipts and payment. Also, if we were to compare in terms of the degree of accuracy, so accrual accounting will definitely provide a comparatively high degree of accuracy because it practices the principle of matching, the matching principle. Okay, whereas cash accounting, it recognizes the money received or paid in a particular financial year regardless of when the transaction actually occurred. So on that particular basis, we can say that it offers a fairly low degree of accuracy.
Given the non-profit nature of the public sector, the main objective of public sector accounting is therefore to establish a system of good governance in managing public monies or public funds so as to uphold public interest. However, the goals of accountability and good governance may not be as achievable given the weaknesses, the shortcomings of the current accounting system, which utilizes the modified cash basis accounting. The cash-based accounting system currently used by the government has many weaknesses which need to be addressed. The present system does not give a true reflection and real-time position of the government's financial affairs. This is because expenditures were reported as they were spent and paid for, not as they were incurred. Revenues were recorded as it was received and not earned. So we can basically say that under such a system, the government would not be able to fully get the true picture of how much goods and services were actually cost, or is it able to accurately know the full extent of its liabilities. As a result of that, the migration to accrual accounting has been stipulated as a policy measure in the new economic model report. So this adoption will basically put the Malaysian public sector finance practice in line with developed countries. It is hoped that the end result of adopting accrual accounting will be more effective fiscal management in terms of accountability, sustainability, better measures of policy effect, organizational effectiveness and efficiency, and the promotion of greater transparency and integrity. Based on this illustration, we can see that accrual accounting implementation is actually a part of a wider finance reform in public sector. So we can see that accrual accounting is not an end in itself, but rather an essential first step to improve public finance. The primary objective of most public sector entities is to deliver services to the public rather than to make profits and generate a return on equity to investors. So there are several characteristics of the public sector that are different from the private sector. For example, in terms of volume and financial significance of what we call as the non-exchange transactions such as taxes and transfers. So this type of transaction does not exist in the private sector. The importance of approved budget, and also in the public sector, assets are held generally to provide services rather than to generate cash flows, especially for assets that are specialized in nature, such as the public roads, the military asset, for example, or items that contribute to the historical and cultural sector of a nation or a region. Contohnya macam historical buildings, historical artifact, art treasures, and we also have the national park or other areas of natural significance with native flora and fauna macam taman negara, natural resources. We also have natural resources such as mineral reserves, gas, petroleum, water, fishing grounds, and forests. And then there is also the nature of public sector programs, where we can see basically public sector programs are often long term, but the ability to meet the commitment depends upon future taxation and contributions. So otherwise we're not going to be able to fund the project. And then also when looking at the longevity of the public sector, where national governments generally have very long lives, although political control may change regularly. Okay, so we can basically have different ruling party depending on who wins the election, but the public administration remains the same. Penjawat awam masih yang sama lagi kan. Okay, and then finally we have the regulatory role of public sector entities and the relationship to statistical reporting. So because of these unique characteristics of the public sector, it is argued that therefore it is important, it is needed to move from cash reporting to accruals reporting in order to make the true cost of government more transparent. As mentioned previously, the main aim of public sector accounting is accountability and good governance. However, these aims may not be achieved given the limitations of the current accounting system, which is the modified cash basis accounting. Currently, as we all know, the government's federal consolidated fund, comprising the consolidated revenue account, the consolidated loan account, and the consolidated trust account, is accounted for using the modified cash basis of accounting. Under this particular basis of accounting, despite the addition of some elements of accrual accounting, the payables reported at the end of the financial year are incomplete. Such information may not be that useful, and some may argue that disclosure could be potentially misleading from the financial reporting perspective. Moreover, all expenditures are expensed during the financial year when payments were made without taking into consideration the timing and manner in which the future economic benefits embodied the expenditure would flow to the government. So indeed, the financial position of the Federal Consolidated Fund at the end of each financial year, as reported in its financial statement, is too narrow, too simple to faithfully represent the resources controlled by as well as the present obligations of government, and this lead to potential risk due to the not focusing on asset liability management. The other shortcomings of modified cash basis accounting are that it has limited basis for determining fiscal strategy, it has limited product or service pricing, and it has limited disincentives for fraud and corruption. For example, assets are seldom accounted for and tracked after purchasing, and consequently, these assets are generally not added to the cost of production of goods and services provided to the public. So, as a result of that, we cannot the government do not know how much actually the good and services cost, and they also would not be able to know the full extent of the liabilities. Accrual accounting will basically benefit the public sector in more ways than one. In terms of cost savings, for example, the costing data of output will enable a more effective evaluation of alternatives to achieve the required outcomes. So we would be able to properly, effectively and efficiently evaluate the different alternatives that we have, so we can achieve the 3 E's, or value for money. For revenue generation, accrual accounting is seen as a great tool for information on assets which facilitate unlocking of values. This will provide better service delivery, as asset listing provides a database for infrastructure management, which will lead to a better maintenance of asset. Therefore, the adoption of accrual accounting will lead to a transparent and accountable government, as it leads to accounting for consumption of resources more accurately, and subsequently this will improve the performance and financial management of each governmental agency. So with regards to sustainability, it will definitely facilitate revenue management by each agency, while at the same time promoting intergenerational equity of public policies. So in other words, it is a complete accountability of resources. It is a better measure of policy effect. So and it is an effective measure to complement the results framework of OBB, outcome-based budgeting, which leads to a better accountability of executive government. So accrual accounting will basically improve organizational efficiency and effectiveness significantly, as it complements the results framework of OBB and the costing of outputs that are measured against the outcome. Accrual accounting will also help to promote greater integrity by promoting transparency, minimizing year-end shopping. Ini selalu berlaku, and is compatible with other developed nations or developed economies. This particular page shows the result for the International Public Sector Financial Accountability Index in 2018. So this index or this report was produced by the International Federation of Accountants. This index basically collects, verifies and analyzes current financial reporting and budgeting frameworks, but we're not going to discuss on the budgeting part, that are used by federal and central governments around the world. So the index currently contains data from 150 jurisdictions. We can see that the results show that 37 governments, which is 25% of jurisdictions covered by the index, reported on accrual basis in their last set of published financial statements, while 45% are actually in the process of transitioning to accrual accounting, or already have some element of accrual in their financial reports. And finally, 30% of governments are still reporting on a cash basis. So based on the results, we can say that a majority of the federal government or central governments around the world is still trying to transition from, well, maybe cash-based accounting to accrual-based accounting. And if we look closely, we can see that our country, Malaysia, is categorized under cash basis of financial reporting. Alright, so in order to facilitate the financial reporting basis adopted in this country, the current financial reporting framework are also investigated. The accrual reporting frameworks are developed in various ways, many making use of the already established international standards IPSAS. So specifically governments all around the world make use of IPSAS in three main ways. Number one, directly, which means that they implement IPSAS without altering any of the requirement. Okay. Number two is indirectly, where they implement IPSAS through a national endorsement process, adjusting for any specific jurisdictional features depending on their own environment, accounting environment. And in some cases, or the third way is where IPSAS is used as a reference point. So where the developing national standards use IPSAS only as a guidance source. So based on the index, we can see here the result shows that of the 37 governments that currently report on accrual basis of accounting, 51% or 90 governments are using IPSAS in one of the three ways. 5 governments adopted IPSAS directly, so melampau sangat lah kan. 5 apply IPSAS indirectly, while 9 government use IPSAS to develop their own national standards. So some countries not categorized as reporting and on accrual still make use of accrual IPSAS or the cash basis IPSAS in their financial reporting framework.
Later in 2021, by analysing the data captured by the index, a 2021 status report provides an update on the progress made since 2018 in implementing accrual-based reporting. This report provides a snapshot of the position in 2021 on the financial reporting basis, and it forecasts what's going to happen in the future by using the data available to see what is the situation is going to be in 2025, and provide an indicative projections of the position in 2030. The 2020 index contained data from 165 jurisdictions as compared to 150 in the 2018 index. So the 2018 index data has therefore been restated in order to provide comparability with the new index data. So the result provides a more positive picture of the accrual adoption efforts globally, with 30% of the jurisdictions reporting on accrual in 2020, which is an increase by 6% since 2018. If you are more interested in looking at the detail of the report, you can click on the link provided in this page.
As mentioned before, the migration from modified cash basis of accounting to accrual accounting is one of the measures under the new economic model for the federal government of Malaysia to move towards better government financial reporting, to increase efficiency and effectiveness in financial management, and also to improve accountability and transparency of the management of public sector resources. Although the announcement to move from modified cash basis accounting to accrual accounting was made in 2011, previously the Malaysian federal government has actually been using the cash basis IPSAS, and when the announcement was made, the initiative started in 2011 towards accrual accounting. The Ministry of Finance in 2013 issued a Treasury circular detailing the benefits of accrual accounting adoption. Although at that particular time, Malaysia was expected to fully migrate to accrual-based accounting by 2015, and by 2016 the state government will follow suit. However, this expectation was not fulfilled, unfortunately, because as you know, up until now we are still using the modified cash basis accounting, especially to produce the financial statements under federal government, under both federal government and the state government. So it is just like any other reform. The implementation of accrual accounting in the public sector will be challenging. Apart from creating awareness, the government will have to reform legislative and regulatory structures, build capacity and competency, integrate systems, and better manage assets and liabilities. To prepare for the eventual adoption of accrual accounting, there have been several implementation strategies being put in place. For example, there must be a change in management where the structured approach for organizational change, that is the transition to accrual accounting, is supposed to take place. There should be operational changes where accounting standards and policies, laws and regulations, and work processes take effect. Also, there is a need for a change in technology combined with the change in attitudes and behavior, and this refers to the knowledge and skills of personnel. This is because the primary objective for a change is for the management to empower personnel to accept and embrace changes that is going to happen in the adoption of accrual accounting. For example, in terms of standards and policies, there have been a lot of implementation guideline and reference document that were put in place in order to help with this implementation strategy, with the implementation of accrual accounting. They have done Ipsos gap analysis, and they're trying to convert this, and they're trying to use this as the basis for the preparation of MPSAS, Malaysian Public Sector Accounting, to set the accounting standard. So these are the accounting standards that are going to be applied by the public sector accounting entities in Malaysia, other than the government business enterprise. And apart from that, there have also been the accrual accounting policy document that was approved back in February 2012 and revised in September 2019. So this document contains the principles, convention, rules and practices adopted to help users adopt MPSAS effectively. There have also been there have been a document on accrual accounting manual. So this manual give the guidelines to assist financial staff, the accounting personnel, to record routine and complex transactions specific to the government of Malaysia in terms of the recognition, measurement and disclosure during the preparation of the statement of accrual financial statement. And then there have also been the chart of account, okay, a very comprehensive chart of account that will replace the existing revenue expenditure code used under modified cash basis, okay. And there have also been the IGFMAS guidelines, okay, very comprehensive on the manual training and work process manual, and you can see the details on the next page for standards and policies. So all in all, up to this date, there have been a total of 32 active MPSAs that have been developed by Jabatan Accountant Negara, and as mentioned earlier, these MPSAs were adopted from IPSAS and modified to suit the accounting environment in Malaysian public sector. Now that we know the Malaysian public sector plan to move towards or to transition towards accrual accounting by the earliest maybe 2021, let's have a look at the current landscape of the implementation of accrual accounting in Malaysia. As we can see here in this table, both the local authority and statutory body, they have already implemented accrual accounting, and at the moment they are using either MFIRS or MPERS, while some statutory bodies especially have actually been using MPSAS. And the accounting system that they use is definitely Saga lah. So this accounting system is intended for the use of local authority and statutory body. Unfortunately, as we have already discussed before, both the federal government as well as the state government are still using the modified cash basis accounting, whereby the accounting standard that they rely upon are the PPK, Piawaian Perakaunan Kerajaan, or the government accounting standards, and also they are referring to MPSAS as well. And while the federal government is using IJFMS, the state government relies on ISPEC, although not all states are actually using ISPEC at the moment.